Want to just first ask, how are you? How are the last 24 hours been for you?
Um, Insane, honestly. I mean, it's surreal. Like to be able to wake up and say I'm a Carolina Panther is, it's crazy. It's something I never thought I'd really be able to say. And, the past month of my life has been like the craziest, most incredible time I've ever had. So it's a blessing for sure.
When did this dream begin? Like, did you kind of have this idea ever when you were playing college basketball that maybe you'd want to look into playing football in some capacity afterwards, or?
Not really, honestly. I never planned on playing football. The only it's really George. Like the George got me to do it. George Fant, who plays in the NFL. He's played 9 seasons in the NFL. He did essentially the same thing I'm doing 10 years ago.
Yeah.
He played basketball in college, and he actually did a fifth year and played 1 year football. Didn't really play, but still, went to a pro day, showed his athleticism, and got drafted. So basically, just pretty much the same thing, basketball to football. Um, and then, yeah, he hit me up. He DM'd me about, early to midway through the season, and basically just like kind of explained who he was and what what he did, how his situation worked out, and that he really believed that I could do the same thing, and that he wanted to help me do that. And I honestly didn't really think much of the DM. I kind of just like I said I was interested, but I really was like I don't know what the hell that is.
Yeah.
It was a little confusing, but I knew it was a real person, and by his account, I could tell he was an actual NFL player that was saying this to me. So it was intriguing. I was playing. I was in the middle of my season. I had games to win. I was focused on basketball, and I was not really taking it serious. Um, but he kept in touch with me, he kept in touch with my family, and his agent kept in touch with me, who's now my agent. And basically, just like at the end of the season, he kept garnering kind of our relationship. And I, I kind of just was like, hey, me and my head coach were talking, and I told him about the kind of opportunity where to maybe play football. And I was, uh, I was talking to him and I was like, I think I'm just going to leave it up to God. And, because we didn't have the best season. So like, if we wanted to make it to March Madness or our conference, championship at our conference tournament, we had to win 7 games in 7 days. So
Wow.
I was like, if we win 7 games, 7 days, or even 4 or 5 games, in a row, I think that's a sign to play basketball. But, I had essentially 20 points and we lost in the first game. So I was like, yeah, that's kind of a sign, I think, to me. So I just packed up my stuff, and literally within 3 days, I moved in from like I played my last basketball game March 4th, and I was at George's house like March 8th or something. Or
Wow.
yeah, so it was really George. I credit it all to George.
When he first hit you up, what other than I guess your size, did he say he saw in you that, he thought could be a good potential fit to become, a pro football player as well?
So what he told me was he has a little database that he goes through, and he just was like how he like kind of finds players to do this, or was finding players to do this. And he looks at offensive rebounds, because in his eyes offensive rebounds means you're aggressive. It's kind of a physical stat, because you kind of have to like fight for the ball to get an offensive rebound. And it means like athleticism, your aggressiveness, and those traits he thinks just like kind of translate to football. So like that's a stat he was looking at. And I think I just was like, I don't know if I think I was just averaging a good amount of them, or like a couple a game, and it just popped up that like this guy gets offensive rebounds. And so like that was how he told me he found me, like looking at offensive rebound numbers, and saw me just the way I went after the ball, and just thought, this guy with his size and athletic ability could really do something.
How was the last month or so, I guess, since that last game in March that you were talking about, to where you are now in terms of what you've had to do training wise, getting the attention of the Panthers, honing in football skills that you probably haven't had since middle school, is my guess.
Yeah, yeah. It's been crazy. So basically, I got to Georgia's house at midnight, whenever I did, and the very next morning we started at 9 a.m. So the pro day, we just started training for the pro day, which is a very specific set of drills. It's like almost not even football. So it's a lot of athleticism, which is good because that's the easy part, honestly, is just being athletic. Um, so we just started training a lot of the drills, the 5-10-5, the L drill, the 40-yard dash, a lot of speed work. My vertical, we started working on my vertical, and then I would just go catch, throw, and run routes every day. I would just make sure I did, we'd lift every day, we'd do speed work every day, and I'd go run routes. I mean, that was just I've been doing that for like almost I guess a month now, or maybe not quite a month, but close to a month. So I kind of we just took off running and put our head down, and then we originally were gonna do our my pro day at NC State. I was gonna hop in with their pro day, but my the NFL called my agent after we submitted all the paperwork and said that we can't do that because the last school I went to was in South Carolina, even though I graduated from a school that was in North Carolina. Um, so we had to do a South Carolina pro day if we wanted to do it like at a school and hop in with people. And at that time, it was like maybe a week and a half into the process of me training, and the only South Carolina pro days that were on the NFL like pro day kind of list of schools that they actually would go to was the very next day, which was my school, Coastal Carolina, or the day after that, which was South Carolina.
Yeah.
So my agent was kind of like, I think it's smarter if we just hold off, hold our own, and you just try to get anybody there, even if it's only one team. And then if not, we can still film it and send it out to people. And so, yeah, that was our plan. So I was just listening to George and my agent, and just following and trusting them and just working out every day. And then we filmed a video. They hit up a lot of their contacts in the NFL, and people were interested, but they wanted to see what I could do. So we filmed a video of me running routes pretty early on, which even now I can look at and say it doesn't look that great. But I mean, it was enough to be like, hey, this guy can actually like catch a football. He can run. He's, I guess looks athletic. So that video got essentially five teams, the Vikings, the Seahawks, the Texans, the Panthers, and the Eagles.
Okay.
Um, they got them all to basically confirm they were going to come be at my pro day. So
Wow.
um, it was a blessing to have five teams there. George kept telling me that like that's almost like it never happens for someone, especially who doesn't play football, to have five teams come out and be there just for me. It was pretty incredible. So the Panthers were one of those teams, and I worked out and I did all the pro day drills, and the Panthers were obviously there, one of their scouts, and he called me on his way home a couple hours after the pro day and was like, "Hey, can you be at our facility on Monday?" And obviously I said absolutely. So I didn't really know what that entailed. They didn't tell me they were going to give me a contract, but after meeting with them and stuff, that's what ended up happening. So
Just having spent the last few years in the Carolinas for it to be the Panthers, what does that kind of all mean to you in terms of maybe, full circle or just kind of staying around the area a little bit?
yeah, it's cool. I mean, I've been to Charlotte before. I know a lot of people my age just from growing up throughout life that have moved to Charlotte. One of my good friends lives there, and just like it is cool to kind of like it's cool, and it's almost like uh it's just like a perfect kind of match to stay in the Carolinas and to just and to just be back in the Carolinas playing like that. Just I feel like makes sense. It's like it's honestly so I can't think of the word, but it just like to be able to play. I mean, I spent my last 3 years of my life, 3 years of my life in the Carolinas. So it's crazy to think that, it's almost like destined to happen that like just that was the team that, wants to take a chance on me. So it's a blessing for sure.
And I saw your video where you're basically saying, anything is possible if you put your mind to it, all that kind of stuff. Of course, there was a couple, superfluous words mixed in there too, but I wanted to kind of circle back to that whole context about, you're basically saying anything you want to do, you can do. Like you can go be whatever you want to be if you work hard. Like kind of
Uh,
explain that whole idea for you. Is that who
I
you've
mean,
always been?
I've always been someone that, I love to work hard. I love to put far-fetched ideas out there, and I'd say I'm a believer. No matter what it is, like I put my faith in things and believe that like just special things can happen. And I just feel like that to be for amazing things to happen, someone had to always, have some sort of delusional goal or attitude. And that's just the approach I've always taken. If you shoot for the moon, fall short amongst the stars. That's kind of the attitude. Like go all out and you'll achieve something great out of it, even if it's not what you expected. It's something amazing will come from it, and the only way you can get there is by giving it, absolutely everything. And the fact that just my life in the past month has just shown me, and like just I've been just closer to God, and just showing myself that like I took the leap to literally move in with George, who I've never met before in my entire life, and now we're great friends, and he's a huge mentor to me, and he helped me get an NFL contract. And I mean, anything is possible. And I probably shouldn't have cussed on there, and I kind of feel
It's
bad about
fine.
that, but
I liked it.
that was as raw as it could be. I mean, I was in the parking lot of the Panthers arena. Like I just felt it in that moment after kind of inking the paper there, like literally anything you put your mind to is possible. I mean, a month ago I was playing basketball and I had no vision of playing football. I had absolutely no idea that I'd be playing football or that I'd ever be be at this point right now. So I just truly believe that like you cannot listen to what anybody says, because people doubt you no matter what you do, and they'll throw negative comments around. I mean, when I started this journey, like people would come up to me and just tell me like they don't think, just random backhanded compliments like, oh yeah, you won't be a tight end, your hands are too small, or yeah, but your feet are bad, or my feet aren't bad, but just like random little comments that people don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're just, it's negative energy they're putting out there. That's it. I mean, it drives me, but it's just stuff like that. That's like, there's so much of that that's going to be there, and people telling you that you can't do it, that it's just, you can't listen to it. I mean, the fact that I've done what I've done in the past month truly should show everyone in the world that you can literally do anything you want.
You were just talking a little about people's response. The internet has certainly taken a liking to your story in the last 24 hours. What has that been like for you? I mean, there's been, some memes and people are, sharing this story everywhere. It's, trending on all the major sites, things like that. Seeing your name up there and being, part of this, what is that like to you?
It's amazing, man. I mean, I think that it adds to the just surrealness of all this, and the insanity, and it's just it's crazy to be able to think about my life, and just how the trajectory of my life and how everything that I've been through, and the 5 years of basketball that have essentially led to this, and the past month of my life that somehow, I mean, it's crazy. I get the chills. I think it's not even real all the time. I mean, my phone's been blowing up since I signed that contract. My phone has not
Or
stopped buzzing once. So,
I'm sure. Outside of
yeah.
George, who has been there, I guess, supporting this most recent journey for you? Is there anyone that you've really been leaning on in terms of just the moral support? Because I know you were saying there were some people who were doubting you or giving you some negative energy. Who was lifting you up throughout this?
Definitely my mom and dad. I love my mom and dad. I mean, they've given me the most amazing life I could ever ask for. They've been together my entire life. I had a great childhood. They've given me everything I've ever needed and more. And, they were behind me every step of the way. They were supported me every step of the way. Them, as far as the rest of my family, and then my trainer, that I've been working with, who's George's trainer, which is the only reason why he's my trainer, but his name's Jacob Davis. I mean, he's right there working with me every day, a guy that, who knows if this will work out, and he's putting his time and effort into me. So I would say that, him being Jacob, the people that have helped me like work me out like that, and definitely my family. Um, yeah.
I have just a couple more because I want to be conscious of your time. But when you think back to when you last played football, do you have any memories that stand out or anything that comes to mind that you think back to at this point?
Not a ton. I mean, I haven't played since eighth grade, and I did like football. I mean, I was a running back my whole life. Like I started playing in kindergarten and then stopped in eighth grade. So I was a running back until eighth grade. Eighth grade, I switched over to a tight end, and I was just, I guess,
Growth
too
spurt
big to play
happened,
run.
yeah.
I mean, I was always tall, but I think I got to be too tall. I was 6'6" when I was in the eighth grade, so it was
Wow.
just like it was a different. Yeah, it was a crazy, just kind of experience. Like I don't, I really like, I do remember things. I remember, hitting some hard hits or, the friends and the teammates that I had and some of those type of memories. But honestly, those were in a thing of the past for the past, 9 years of my life. I've been playing basketball and without a thought about football. But once I decided that I was going to do this, I mean, I haven't looked back. So, um, I'm excited and I'm 100% all in on football now. So,
What do the next couple months look like for you in terms of training and working out and doing everything you can to try to, make the team officially and everything like that?
yeah, no, it's a lot of just working out and learning. I just got to be honestly like studying the game every day, working out, as much as I can, putting on that size, putting on just good muscle, good weight that, I think, I'm gonna need or I want, and I think they want me to put on, 15, 20 pounds of muscle, which I'm excited to do. I think that's a good challenge. I think that'll help me play better. So I think a lot of it is working out, eating, and just studying the game at, all the different plays, concepts, defensive schemes, defensive fronts, blocking schemes, and, everything that comes with football.